Chapter 21. Training for the Impossible. For the next 3 days, Ethan barely slept. Reyes pushed him harder than ever before. Ava trained him until her voice went hoarse. Kai nearly electrocuted himself 3 times, for science. And Grayson hovered like a surgeon, observing his most volatile patient. Everything sharpened. Every exercise grew harsher. Every drill became a battle. Every mistake nearly triggered another void tremor. Ethan's body ached in every muscle. His veins felt like burning wires. Even his dreams were dark, filled with flickers of the black sun, its whispered hunger, its infinite eyes. But he kept moving. Because for the first time since his awakening, Ethan Ward had a direction, a purpose, a chance to fight back. The Chamber of Resonance. On the 3rd night, Ava led him to a training space Ethan didn't know existed, a hollow, spherical chamber buried deep beneath the academy. Runes covered every surface, thousands of them, ancient markings that shimmered with blue-white frost. Ava tapped the control sigil. The runes brightened, and the chamber filled with a cold so deep it felt like breathing ice. Ethan shivered. What is this place? Ava stepped beside him, her expression solemn. My family built this chamber generations ago. It was designed for stabilizing volatile magic, dangerous magic. She hesitated. Magic like yours. Ethan swallowed hard. And you think it can hold the void? Ava nodded slightly. It's the strongest containment field on campus, maybe the country. Kai poked the wall. Ooh, ice runes. Fancy. Ava grabbed his wrist. Don't touch anything. Kai sighed dramatically. Nobody ever lets me touch anything. Ethan stepped into the center of the chamber. Ava positioned herself behind one of the rune consoles. Kai, she said, activate the resonance stabilizer. Kai saluted. Captain of Chaos, reporting for duty. He slapped the rune panel. The chamber roared to life. Blue light spiraled along the walls. The floor hummed. A vortex of freezing air swirled in a perfect sphere around Ethan. Ava called out, Ethan, listen to me. This chamber will suppress your fire. Muted flames only. That gives your void less to latch onto. Ethan nodded. And lightning? Lightning will conduct safely through the chamber's molecular lattice. She hesitated. Probably. Kai winced. Probably? Ava ignored him. Ethan, start with fire control, slowly. Ethan raised his hand. A small, warm spark hovered above his palm. The cold air instantly began to smother it. Ethan tightened his focus. The flame steadied. Ava called out, Good. Now lightning. Ethan inhaled. Lightning crackled faintly across his fingers. But the moment it appeared, the void pulse stirred. A whisper crawled along his spine. Open! Ethan flinched. No, stay out! Ava's voice cut through the panic. Ethan, focus on me. He locked onto her voice. Ava continued. You are not opening anything. The void responds to imbalance. Control the spark. Keep your flames small. Keep the lightning contained. Ethan's breath trembled. Okay, flame steady. Lightning small. Void suppressed. He tried again. Lightning flickered. Void tremor surged. Ava shouted, Ethan, focus! He gritted his teeth. Kai, increase cold pressure. Kai slapped 3 runes. The chamber's temperature dropped sharply. Ice mist spiraled in a blizzard around Ethan. And for the first time, he felt the void recoil. Ethan gasped. It's backing off. Ava nodded quickly. Keep going. Lightning again. Ethan summoned another spark. This time, it held. The void pulse rippled, but didn't take over. Ava smiled, relieved, proud, and terrified all at once. That's it. You've got it. Ethan exhaled shakily. Feels like trying to balance 3 knives on one fingertip. That's because it is. Ava tapped another rune. Now fire and lightning together, slowly. Ethan hesitated. Last time I tried that, I nearly blacked out. Ava stepped forward, placing her hand on the rune barrier, right opposite him. You're not alone this time. Kai pumped a fist. And I've got emergency snacks if you pass out. Ethan laughed under his breath. Then he inhaled and brought his hands together. Flame flickered in his left palm. Lightning shimmered in his right. The chamber tightened, magic pressing in from all directions. He could feel the void pulse waiting, watching, hungry. Ava's voice was a whisper, but it carried through the chamber like a lifeline. Steady. You're in control. Ethan slowly brought the fire and lightning closer, inch by inch, until they touched. A spark of gold burst between his palms, then grew into a swirling ring of energy. Not void, not corruption. Something new. Something his. Kai's mouth dropped open. Holy, Ethan, that's... But then, Ethan's heart clenched. A sharp pain. Cold. Wrong. The void slammed forward like a tidal wave. Conduit! Ava's eyes widened. Ethan, don't let it! But the void rushed up his spine, too fast, too strong. Dark cracks erupted across his forearms. Kai shouted, Ava, hit the dampener, now! Ava slammed her hand on the main sigil. The chamber roared. A ring of ice shot upward, encasing Ethan in a sphere of frost and light. The void pulse screeched, hissing, cracking, shattering. And then, bang! The sphere exploded outward, sending Ethan flying across the chamber. Ava darted forward, sliding in a spray of frost, catching him before he hit the far wall. He collapsed in her arms, eyes unfocused. Kai rushed over. Dude, are you alive? Ethan gasped. I think, yeah, I'm here. Ava pressed her forehead against his, breath shaking. Don't scare me like that, she whispered. Ethan blinked. You were scared? Ava froze. No. She cleared her throat sharply. That's irrelevant. Kai snorted. Oh yeah, totally irrelevant. Nothing to see here. Ava shot Kai a death glare. I said nothing. Ethan forced himself to sit upright. What happened? Ava exhaled. You forced the void back. You actually overpowered it. Ethan blinked. Wait, I won? Kai laughed in disbelief. You didn't die. That counts. Ava nodded firmly. You're getting stronger, fast. Ethan breathed out slowly. For the first time, the void pulse felt distant, muted. Not gone, but weakened. Ava stood and offered her hand. He took it. We're not done. Not even close. But you proved something today. Ethan looked up at her. What? Ava's lips curved, just a hint. That you're not its conduit. Her eyes hardened with certainty. You're its opponent. Ethan stared at his hands, still trembling, still cracked, still burning. But for the first time, his fear didn't outweigh his determination. He nodded. Let's keep going. Ava squeezed his hand. Kai punched the air. The void whispered faintly. Soon. Ethan clenched his fists. Not soon enough. Chapter 22. Shadows in the Hall. By the time Ethan, Ava, and Kai climbed out of the resonance chamber, it was nearly dawn. The academy courtyard shimmered with dew. first light catching on glass windows and glowing runes. Students hadn't woken yet. The campus was eerily quiet. Too quiet. Ethan rubbed his arms. Not from cold. Ava's training had frozen him plenty. But because something felt off. Kai yawned loudly. Man, I am starving. Do you think the cafeteria would judge me if I ordered 6 breakfasts? Ava didn't respond. She was staring across the courtyard toward the main building. Ethan followed her gaze. Something wrong? Ava's voice was flat. Yes. Look. At first, Ethan saw nothing unusual. Then he saw it. A figure standing alone under the south archway. Still. Motionless. Watching them. A cadet? A professor? No. The posture was wrong. Too rigid. Too silent. Kai squinted. Who invites themselves to a horror movie at 6 a.m.? That's suspicious. Ava stepped in front of Ethan. Get behind me. He shook his head. Ava, do it. He obeyed. The figure took one slow step forward. The air around it rippled, like heat distortion, or like the boundary of rift quivering. Ava hissed, Kai, alarm rune, now. Kai pressed a sequence on his wristband. The alarm didn't activate. The rune glowed red, then short-circuited. Kai's eyes widened. It jammed my band. How did it jam my... The figure stepped again. This time the light bent around it, warping unnaturally. Ethan's pulse spiked. He recognized that distortion. He whispered, Run. Run. Now. But the thing moved first. It blurred. A streak of black and violet crossing the courtyard in an instant. Ava barely had time to throw up a wall of ice. Crash. The creature slammed into the ice with enough force to crack it end to end. Kai shouted, What the hell? The thing stepped back into view. Ethan's blood ran cold. It wasn't a riftling. Not like the rooftop creature. Not like the arena one. This one was humanoid. Almost human. But its body shimmered like fractured glass. Its eyes burned with violet flame. The void pulsed faintly inside Ethan's chest, reacting. Ava hissed. It's mimicking a person. Kai gagged. That is not comforting. A deep, glitching voice echoed from the creature. Conduit. Ava's eyes widened with horror. It's here for you. Ethan stepped forward. But Ava slammed her arm out, blocking him. No, not again. The mimic flickered, then vanished. Ethan gasped, Ava, behind you. She spun. Too late. The creature appeared at her back, claws rising. Ethan didn't think. Lightning surged through him, slamming into his veins, burning down his arm. He thrust his hand out. Boom! A bolt of lightning struck the mimic in the chest, launching it across the courtyard. Ava stumbled back, breath ragged. Ethan, that output, how did you... He didn't answer. Because the mimic was already rising. Its chest cracked open like broken stone, void energy leaking from inside, but it didn't slow. Kai backed away rapidly. That's cheating! That thing is cheating! Ava summoned another wall of ice. Ethan, listen carefully. You cannot let it touch you. Ethan swallowed hard. Because it wants to infect me? Control me? Ava's voice was grim. No, because it wants to take you. The mimic blurred, shattering her wall, lunging straight for Ethan. Ava screamed, Move! Ethan dodged, barely, feeling claws tear through his sleeve. Lightning surged reflexively. Fire erupted. Void pulsed. The mimic staggered back, shrieking in a glitching, broken tone. Kai snapped his graft open, launching a burst of technomantic electricity. It smashed into the mimic's side, staggering it slightly. Kai panted. "Ethan, kill it! Kill it before it does whatever nightmare thing it does!" But Ethan froze, because when the mimic turned its head toward him, its face changed. It shifted. It reformed. Into a man's face. A face Ethan knew. His father. The mimic spoke in a warped, wrong version of his father's voice. "Ethan, help me." Ethan's heart cracked. Ava's face drained of color. "No, Ethan, it's lying. Don't listen." The mimic staggered forward, reaching for him. "Ethan, open the way." Ethan trembled violently. "That's not him, that's not him, that's not him!" He raised his hand, lightning crackling, fire roaring, but the void pulse surged, twisting, weakening his aim. Ava darted forward, screaming, "Ethan, look at me!" He did. Her hand slapped against his cheek, forcing his focus. "That is not your father," she said, voice sharp as ice. "That is the thing that killed him." The mimic shrieked, twisted again, charging toward them both. Ava grabbed Ethan's wrist. Together! Lightning surged from him, ice ignited from her, their magic merging. Boom! The blast hit the mimic dead on. Its body shattered like glass, fracturing into 1,000 void shards, then evaporating into violet smoke. Silence. Finally. Ava collapsed to her knees, chest heaving. Kai leaned against a pillar, panting. "I hate void ninjas." Ethan trembled uncontrollably. His father's face, that voice, that lie, it had reached inside him, clawing at the weakest part of his heart. Ava crawled to him and grabbed his shoulder. "Ethan, hey, focus." He didn't look up. "It used my father. It knows how to get to me." Ava squeezed tighter. "That's why you can't face it alone." Kai nodded. "Yeah, ignoring the fact that I was very brave just now and nearly died, she's right." Ethan finally looked up. Ava's expression was fierce and unwavering. "You're its target," she said softly, "and wear your shield." Kai raised his hand, and also occasionally the comic relief. Ethan exhaled shakily, but something inside him solidified. The mimic had tried to break him. It had failed. He stood slowly. "We need to tell Reyes," he said. Ava nodded, and Grayson. The black sun accelerated its plans. Kai frowned. What happens when the teachers find out a void demon just strolled onto campus?" Ethan's jaw tightened. "They'll realize the breach isn't coming." He stared at the lingering violet mist. "It's already here." Chapter 23. Rhea's Fury. By the time Ethan, Ava, and Kai reached the upper terrace of the academy, half running, half stumbling, the campus emergency ward finally activated. Blue shields slammed into place around the buildings. Drones swarmed overhead like a metallic storm. Alarm glyphs flared across the walkways, and Reyes was already waiting. She stood in the center of the terrace like a statue forged from pure flame, arms crossed, eyes burning with heat so intense Ethan felt it even from 20 feet away. Kai muttered under his breath, "Oh no, she's doing the stare. We're dead." Ava swallowed. "She's angry." "No," Ethan said. "Reyes doesn't get angry. She incinerates." Reyes didn't move as they approached, not one step, not one breath. But her voice, when she finally spoke, was molten iron. "Explain." Just one word, but it hit like a hammer. Ava didn't hesitate. There was an intruder, a void mimic monster, that almost killed us and stole Ethan's dad's face. Probably traumatized me for life. 10 out of 10 would not recommend. Reyes stepped closer. Where? South Courtyard. We destroyed it. You destroyed it? Reyes' tone darkened. Void constructs don't just get destroyed. They regenerate unless... It didn't regenerate, Ethan said quietly. We hit it with combined magic. Fire, lightning, and ice. Reyes inhaled sharply. Then, she was in front of Ethan, too fast to track. She grabbed his chin, forcing him to look up. Her eyes scanned him once, twice, taking in the lingering dark cracks on his skin, the tremors in his hands, the exhaustion behind his eyes. Then she muttered something Ethan had never heard from her. Damn it. Iva and Kai blinked in unison. Reyes released him and turned away sharply. You three, inside, now. Kai squeaked, Yes, ma'am. Ava grabbed Ethan's arm as they followed Reyes into the security wing. Ethan noticed something chilling. For the first time since he'd met Reyes, she was scared. The war room. Reyes slammed her hand over the rune lock. A heavy door opened into a circular chamber lit by holograms, maps, elemental readings, AMA reports, surveillance grids, the heartbeat of the Academy's defenses. Reyes barked, Sit! All three obeyed instantly. She paced in front of them like a storm trapped in human form. A void entity got past the Academy's wards, past the arcane grid, past surveillance, past boundary seals. Her eyes snapped to Ethan. For you. Ethan looked down. I know. Reyes slammed her hand against the table. Crack! The table dented. Kai whispered, Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. Reyes leaned over the table, her voice sharp as a blade. Ward, look at me. Ethan looked up. Did it speak to you? He swallowed. Yes. What did it say? Ethan hesitated. Ava touched his arm. Tell her. It called me conduit, told me to open the way. Reyes' jaw clenched. Kai raised a hand. And also copied his dad's face, which was messed up on a very personal level. Kai, Ava hissed. What? It was traumatic. Reyes turned back to Ethan. It took your father's appearance? Ethan nodded slowly. Reyes exhaled, long and shaking with fury. Her flames flickered dangerously. That confirms it. Ava stood. Confirms what? Reyes looked at all three of them. The black sun has marked Ethan. Silence fell. Kai blurted, Cool, cool, cool. What does that mean? Reyes replied without sugarcoating. It means Ethan is no longer a threat in theory. He is a priority target. The black sun knows his identity, his location, his emotional weak points. Ava's face darkened. And with today's attack, the void has taken its next step. Ethan tensed. What step? Reyes met his eyes. It's no longer trying to influence you. She paused. It's trying to take you. Ava stood so fast, her chair slid back across the floor. No, it can't. He's not open to it. Reyes shook her head. The mimic was a retrieval unit, a hunter, a test. A test for what? Reyes answered grimly. To see how hard it is to abduct Ethan without killing him. Ethan's breath caught. Kai's face drained of color. Guys, I like Ethan, but I do not like him enough to fight extra-dimensional kidnappers. Kai! What? I'm being honest. Rhea slammed her fist into the table again. Thoom! Both Kai and Ava jumped. No more games, Reyes growled. The breach is accelerating, and Ethan, your imprint is evolving faster than anything the AMA has ever recorded. Ethan whispered, How long do I have? Reyes didn't look away. Until the next attempt, a day, maybe less. Ava grabbed Ethan's hand. Kai grabbed the other. Reyes straightened and pointed at all three of them. You will not leave each other's sight. You will not walk alone. You will not sleep without wards. Understood? They nodded. Good. Then Reyes turned to Ethan. Her voice softened, just barely. I promised you I'd protect you. She placed a hand on his shoulder. And I will. But I need you to stay alive long enough to protect yourself. Ethan forced a weak smile. I'll try. Reyes shook her head. No. She met his gaze with burning intensity. You'll succeed. Ethan inhaled slowly. For a moment, the void pulse inside him felt small, quiet, because he wasn't alone. Ava, Kai, Reyes. This was his team, his shield, his family, and the Black Sun would have to go through all of them to get to him. Chapter 24. Night Watch. The Academy didn't sleep that night. Neither did Ethan. Reyes assigned them a temporary refuge in one of the fortified upper dorms, usually reserved for high-threat magical emergencies. The entire floor was protected by reinforced runes, elemental barriers, and surveillance drones programmed to vaporize anything non-human. Even so, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling of being hunted. He sat in the room assigned to him, bare walls, reinforced glass, cold lighting, while Ava, Kai, and Reyes argued in the hallway. Well, Ava and Reyes argued. Kai mostly panicked in supportive ways. Ethan listened quietly. Outside the door, Ava hissed, "We need more layers of protection, triple wards, maybe a frost barrier too." Reyes shook her head. "That restricts his fire flow. He'll collapse again." "Then lightning suppression. No, that destabilizes the imprint's inhibitor pattern." Kai threw his hands up. "Why does protecting Ethan feel like trying to babysit a literal nuclear reactor?" Reyes groaned. "Because he is one." Ava's glare sharpened. "He's not a bomb. He's a student." Reyes didn't argue back this time. Her voice softened. "Ava, trust me. I'm doing everything I can." Ava's eyes flicked toward Ethan's closed door. "Not enough," she whispered. Reyes sighed. "Then help me figure it out." Ava nodded immediately. Kai raised his hand. "Can I help too, or am I still on emotional support duties?" Reyes pointed to him. "You stay with Ethan." Kai blinked. "Because I'm brave?" "Because you're reckless," Reyes corrected. "If something attacks, you'll run toward it screaming." Kai gasped. "You understand me." Reyes turned away before she could smile. Inside the room, Ethan sat on the edge of the reinforced bed, elbows on his knees, staring at his palms. Flame flickered weakly across his fingertips. Lightning danced across his wrist, and beneath both, faint black veins pulsed like an echo. He muttered to himself, "Stop. Stay quiet. Stay down." For a moment, the void actually listened. A light knock sounded. Kai poked his head in. "Hey, Reyes says I'm your designated babysitter. I'd consider that a promotion." Ethan forced a shaky smile. "You don't have to stay." Kai shut the door behind him with a dramatic slam. "Nope, the last time you said I'm fine, something exploded. I'm staying." He plopped on the bed beside him. The silence stretched. Kai nudged him. "Want to talk about Mimic Dad?" Ethan flinched. Kai grimaced. "Okay, maybe not the right wording." Ethan rubbed his eyes. It knew exactly what face to use, what voice. It knew how to break me. Kai leaned back against the wall, legs stretched out. "Yeah, and you still blasted it into void confetti. That's a win." Ethan barked a laugh. A small one, but real. Kai continued, voice softer than usual. Look, trauma sucks, but you're not fighting it alone. You've got me, Ava, Kai, Raze, the whole unofficial trio squad. Ethan snorted. Trio squad? Working title. Ethan opened his mouth to respond, but the door opened again. Ava stepped inside quietly. Her hair was still damp from the frost wards she'd been reinforcing. Her eyes looked exhausted, but fierce. She sat on Ethan's other side, without asking. Kai smirked. Wow, zero greeting. Someone's in a mood. Ava ignored him. She turned to Ethan. Ava shot him a glare so sharp he stopped instantly. Ava Coleman didn't give glares. She gave threats with eye contact. You're not being targeted because you're weak, she said. You're being targeted because you're important. Kai nodded vigorously, and also because cosmic monsters are jerks. Ava pulled a small runestone from her pocket, a soft glowing sigil etched into crystal. I made this for you, she said quietly. Ethan blinked. For me? Emergency freeze ward. If the void tries to surge, or if you hear the whisper, or if anything touches the walls, you press this. She pressed it into his hand. Cold disrupts the void's signal. It'll slow it down. Maybe stop it. Ethan stared at the stone. Something warm bloomed in his chest. Gratitude, fear, something else he wasn't ready to name. Thanks, Ava. Ava looked away quickly. It's basic spell work. Don't make it weird. Kai raised his hand. It's a custom spellstone that took her 3 hours. It's definitely weird. Ava kicked his shin. Kai yelped. Ow! Okay, fine. I'm going to the vending machine. He darted out of the room. Ethan and Ava were alone. The silence grew thick, not tense, just heavy with everything unsaid. Ava finally spoke. Does the void still talk? Ethan shook his head. Not since the mimic. It feels quieter. Ava exhaled with relief. Good. Then Ethan asked something he hadn't meant to voice. Ava, are you scared of me? She froze. Completely froze. Then she turned her head slowly, meeting her eyes with something sharp. Scared of you? She scoffed. No, I'm scared for you. Ethan felt his chest tighten. Ava continued, voice low. You think you're dangerous because something chose you, but that's not how danger works. She leaned closer. Danger is choice, control, intention, and you've never once chosen to hurt anyone. Ethan held her gaze. You think I can fight it? Ava nodded once. I know you can. They both flinched as the emergency lights flickered once, twice, then stabilized. Ethan grabbed the bed frame. A glitch in the grid? Ava frowned. No, that was... A cold whisper crawled into Ethan's skull. Conduit. He slammed his hand onto the spellstone. A blast of cold surged through his chest, ice and fire clashing violently inside him. Ava grabbed his shoulders. Ethan, talk to me. What do you hear? Ethan gasped, eyes wide. It's not talking to me. Ava stiffened. What? Ethan trembled. It's talking to the wards. Ava froze. Kai burst back into the room, vending snacks falling out of his arms. Guys, something's hitting the outer barrier. The academy alarms screamed alive. Rias's voice roared over the intercom. All cadets, void breach detected. Evacuate to inner shields. Now! Ava grabbed Ethan's arm. Kai's graft sparked. Ethan felt the void pulse pounding like a heartbeat. The black sun wasn't whispering anymore. It was knocking. Chapter 25. When the Sky Breaks. The academy trembled. Not metaphorically, literally. The walls vibrated as if struck by a colossal fist. The emergency wards flickered in jagged pulses of blue and white. Sirens wailed through every hallway. Ethan felt it before he heard it, a deep, low hum in his bones, a vibration that wasn't sound, a signal. Ava shoved him toward the reinforced hallway. "Move, now!" Kai scrambled after them, snack bags spilling everywhere. Okay, so question, are we sure the Void doesn't want snacks? Because it's destroying the building, and honestly, this is rude. Another shockwave hit. Boom. The lights flashed violently. A ceiling tile cracked loose and shattered on the ground behind them. Reyes's voice roared over the intercom. "All mages to the inner sanctum, now. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill." Ava dragged Ethan faster, her grip fierce. Ethan's voice was tight. "It's not hitting the building." Kai skidded to a stop. "What?" Ethan glanced upward. "It's hitting the sky." Ava's eyes widened. "The breach is above us," Ethan finished. They reached a large window overlooking the courtyard. Ava froze. Kai swore. Ethan's heart nearly stopped. The sky was splitting open. A swirling vortex of violet and black churned overhead, lightning spiraling outward like tendrils clawing down toward the ground. It wasn't a full rift, not yet. It was worse. A punch through reality, straining against the boundary, a hole being forced open from the other side. Ava mumbled, "Reyes thought the breach was days away." "More like minutes," Kai said weakly. Ethan felt the void inside him ignite, not in hunger, but in resonance, like a tuning fork vibrating at the same impossible pitch. "It's calling to me," he whispered, using the breach as a signal. Ava turned sharply at him. "Ignore it." "I'm trying. Try harder." Another shockwave boomed across the campus. The vortex widened, and Ethan heard it. "Open." The whisper hit him like a blade of cold. He staggered. Ava caught him instantly. "Ethan, hey, look at me. Stay here." Kai grabbed Ethan's other arm. "You are not walking toward that thing, unless your plan is die horribly, in which case I do not support you." Ethan shook his head violently. "I'm not going toward it. It's pulling me." Ava cursed under her breath. "We need Reyes now." They sprinted down the hall, bursting through the doors of the inner sanctum, and nearly collided with Reyes herself. She was already armored, fire erupting around her like a living inferno. A dozen senior mages prepared behind her, runes blazing across their clothes. Reyes grabbed Ethan's shoulders. "Ward, tell me what you feel." Ethan answered without hesitation. "It's targeting me. The breach, this attack, everything. It's trying to drag me out or drag itself in." Reyes inhaled sharply. "So it begins." Ava stepped forward. "We can defend him. We have to keep him inside the sanctum." Reyes shook her head. "No, the sanctum protects against physical threats, not against the void's resonance. If it wants him badly enough, it will tear apart half the academy to reach him." Kai flinched. "Okay, cool. So maybe we just throw him into orbit?" Reyes ignored him. A deep rumble shook the ground. Every mage spun toward the ceiling as a ripple of black energy cracked across the dome. Ava whispered, "It's forcing the breach." Reyes nodded grimly. "The black sun isn't waiting anymore." She pointed upward. "Look." Ethan lifted his eyes and saw something that chilled him more than anything before. Inside the swirling breach, inside the violent storm of void, a silhouette was forming. Humanoid. Towering. Wrong. A shape like a man wrapped in night, a being made of absence. The Black Sun's emissary. Kai's voice cracked. "Oh, hell no, that's illegal. That's very illegal." Ava tightened her fists. "We can fight it." Reyes didn't answer immediately, because she knew. This wasn't a creature they could simply fight. This was the herald of a cosmic force. Reyes turned to Ethan. "You trained for this. You survived the pulse. You held back the void. Now you need to do one more thing." Ethan steadied his breath. "What?" Reyes pointed up at the forming silhouette. "You need to stop that thing from anchoring." Ava grabbed Ethan violently. "No, absolutely not. He just stabilized. He can't—" Reyes cut her off. "If he doesn't, the rift will fully open." Ava froze. Reyes looked Ethan dead in the eye. "You are not going near the breach. You are not going outside the sanctum, but you can reach it." Ava blinked. "What? How?" Reyes stepped closer. "Through the imprint." Ethan staggered. "You want me to use the void link?" Reyes nodded. "It's pulling at you. Pull back." Ava grabbed Ethan's face. "No, Ethan, if you open that link on purpose, it could consume you." Kai pointed at Ethan's chest. "Yeah, your ribcage literally cracks when you sneeze too hard. Void magic is not recommended." Ethan felt his heartbeat thundering, but he remembered the mimic. He remembered the resonance chamber. He remembered pushing the void back. He wasn't the same helpless conduit he had been, and Reyes believed in him. Ava believed in him. Kai believed in him. Ethan squared his shoulders. "I can do it." Ava shook her head desperately. "You don't know that." "Ava," Ethan said softly. He placed his hand on hers. "I have to try." Ava trembled, then closed her eyes. "I'm going with you." Reyes stepped between them. "No, he goes alone." Kai grabbed her sleeve. "Ava, he needs you here. If he loses control, you're the only one who can freeze him down before the void takes over." Ava's jaw locked, but she didn't argue. She looked Ethan in the eyes. "If anything goes wrong," she whispered, "I pull you out myself." Ethan nodded. Reyes placed her hand on his chest. "Focus on the breach. Feel the pull. Then push." Lightning crackled along Ethan's arms. Fire rolled beneath his skin. The void pulse flared, reacting to the growing breach overhead. Ethan planted his feet, closed his eyes, and reached inward, toward the darkness, toward the thing calling for him, toward the black sun. The ground shook, the sky cracked, the void screamed, and Ethan whispered, "Not today." Chapter 26. Into the Breach. Ethan didn't open his eyes. He didn't need to. He felt the breach above the academy like a black sun burning beneath his skin, a gravitational pull, a cold hunger, a violent hand trying to rip him upward out of his own body. Reyes's voice echoed behind him. "Ward, hold the line. Remember your training." Ava's voice was sharper, desperate. "Don't follow the void. Fight it. Stay here." Kai, "Dude, for the love of snacks, do not let it download itself into your soul." Their voices grounded him, anchored him. Ethan inhaled and reached directly into the imprint. Fire surged first, hot, wild, protective. Lightning followed, sharp, fierce, defiant. And then, the void rose like a dark tide, cold, limitless, wrong. Ethan clenched his fists so hard his nails cut into his palms. The sky roared overhead, the breach widening, the silhouette inside growing sharper. The emissary leaned forward through the swirling storm. Its voice layered itself across Ethan's mind like a broken chorus. "Conduit, open, let us through. You are the door." Pain split through Ethan's head like a lightning strike. He forced the words through gritted teeth. "I'm not your door." A wave of void energy slammed into him. Ethan staggered. Ava reached toward him instinctively, but Reyes held her back. Another pulse, then another. Each one stronger, trying to peel his soul apart, to weaken him, to turn him into a gateway. Ethan pushed back. He imagined a wall, a blazing wall of fire and lightning. He shoved it into the void. For a moment, the breach faltered. Ava gasped. He's doing it. He's pushing it back. Kai choked. Holy crap, he's actually winning? Reyes didn't speak. She watched with eyes blazing, every nerve in her body ready to intervene. Ethan held on. And then the emissary stepped fully into view. A towering figure of blackened light, ribs like jagged glass, limbs too long, eyes burning like dying stars. It gripped the edges of the breach with claws like obsidian hooks. The void pressure doubled, tripled, crushed down on Ethan like the weight of a world. Ava cried out, "Ethan, stop! That's too much!" Ethan didn't hear her anymore. He was inside the void. The other side. Ethan found himself standing on a black surface that wasn't ground, a translucent floor stretching across a vast, starless abyss. The breach hung above him like a shattered mirror, and the emissary towered before him. Its presence nearly collapsed his lungs. Its voice fractured the air. "You cannot stop us." Ethan's flames flickered weakly, his lightning dimmed, but he stayed standing. "No," Ethan whispered. "I can't stop you." The emissary leaned closer. "Then submit." Ethan's fire roared back to life. "But I'm not alone." He thrust both hands forward. Boom! Fire and lightning erupted outward in a spiraling golden torrent, the strongest blast he had ever produced. Not inward, not absorbed, but unleashed directly into the void. The emissary reeled backward. A crack split across its chest, spilling violet energy. Ethan pressed the attack, pushing, pushing, every vein burning with heat and electricity. "No more running, no more fear. You won't take me." He felt something behind him, a soft blue glow. Ava's voice faint, but reaching into the void. "Ethan, come back."
"Dude, seriously, we need you alive. Hold the line, Ward." The words cut through the darkness. Ethan pushed the last of his strength forward. Fire, lightning, will. The emissary screamed. Crack! The breach shuddered. The void collapsed inward. Back in the sanctum. Ethan's eyes flew open as he slammed back into his body. He gasped, stumbling forward, and Ava caught him instantly. "Ethan!" Her arms wrapped around him. You're here. Stay with me." Kai held his shoulders from the other side. Buddy, if you faint, I'm legally allowed to slap you." Reyes stood right in front of him. Her voice low. "Ward, what did you do?" Ethan swallowed, shaking violently. I hit it. Hard." Ava looked toward the ceiling. "The breach. Look." Outside the sanctum dome, the vortex twisted violently, the emissary's silhouette flickering, fracturing, splintering apart. Another shock wave rattled the academy. Then, snap. The breach tore itself closed. Light imploded inward. Silence followed. Ava gripped Ethan's face with both hands. "You did it! Ethan, you closed it!" Kai pumped his fist. "Yes! Take that, void jerks!" Ethan's knees buckled. Ava caught him before he hit the floor. Reyes lowered herself to one knee beside them. "Ward, that should have killed you," she said quietly. "Reaching into the void that directly." Ethan breathed raggedly. "I know." Reyes's eyes softened in a way Ethan had never seen. "But you did it anyway." He nodded weakly. "I had to." Ava's voice was soft but fierce. "You stupid, brave idiot." Kai slapped Ethan's back. "You absolute legend." Reyes stood slowly. "This isn't over. The Black Sun won't stop after one failed breach." Ava nodded. "We know." Kai sighed dramatically. So no break, no nap, no snacks? Ethan smiled weakly. After I don't pass out. Then the void pulsed faintly inside him. Not violently, not hungrily, but like an echo. A memory. A reminder. Ava felt him stiffen. Ethan? He whispered. It's not gone. Reyes placed a steady hand on his shoulder. It won't be. Not yet. Ethan looked up at her. So what do we do now? Reyes stepped back, fire flaring behind her like wings. Now, she said, we prepare for the next battle. Ava squeezed his hand. Kai raised his fist. Ethan inhaled slowly, steadying himself. He had survived the void. He had pushed back an emissary. He had closed a breach. He wasn't the Black Sun's conduit. He was its opponent. And the war was far from over.
Chapter 27, Aftershocks. The breach was gone, but the Academy didn't feel victorious. It felt wounded. Cracks spiderwebbed across the inner dome from the impact. Magical residue still drifted like ash in the air, shimmering faintly with violet remnants. Drones flickered as they attempted system resets. Professors and senior mages rushed through the halls, sealing ruptured wards and triaging injured cadets. Reyes stood beside Ethan, arms crossed tightly, her flames dim, but her eyes sharp. Ava refused to let go of Ethan's arm. Kai hovered close, his technomancer graft flickering from overload. They weren't celebrating. They were surviving. Stabilization. Inside the infirmary, Ethan lay on a reinforced spellbed while a healer mage performed a diagnostic scan. Light ran over Ethan's arms, highlighting cracks of black energy buried under his skin, pulsing faintly like phantom wounds. The healer stepped back, grim. The imprint is destabilized, she said to Reyes. His fire and lightning refuse to sync. And the void signature has spiked. Ava's grip on Ethan's hand tightened. What does that mean? The healer hesitated. It means the void inside him is getting stronger, faster than we anticipated. Kai cursed quietly. Of course it is. Of course void magic has a fast-growing subscription plan. Reyes leaned against the wall, jaw tight. How long until the imprint surges again? The healer shook her head. Hours. Maybe less. Ava turned sharply to Ethan. You didn't tell us it felt that bad. Ethan forced a tired smile. I didn't want you to worry. Ava glared at him so fiercely the healer stopped breathing. Kai muttered, Well, congrats, dude. We're worried. Reyes stepped forward, placing a hand on the healer's shoulder. Leave us. The healer bowed and exited quickly. Reyes waited until the door shut, then spoke. Ward, you need to tell me exactly what happened when you were inside the breach. Ava leaned closer. I want to know too. Kai gulped, and, I'll be here for moral panic support. Ethan exhaled slowly. He saw it all again, the starless void floor, the towering emissary, the feeling of his soul being peeled away layer by layer. When I pushed back, he whispered, I didn't just hit the emissary. Reyes's eyes narrowed. Explain. I hit something behind it. Ava stiffened. Behind? Ethan nodded painfully. The breach wasn't the source. The emissary wasn't the source either. He swallowed. The Black Sun was there, watching. Silence crashed heavy across the room. Even Kai didn't speak. Ava's face drained of all color. It saw you? Ethan nodded weakly. It felt me, and when I attacked, he hesitated. It reacted. Reyes stepped back, one hand on her forehead. We aren't ready, she muttered. This early? Impossible. Kai raised a hand meekly. Define reacted. Like, did it flinch, blink, file a complaint? Ethan's voice trembled. It laughed. Ava covered her mouth with a shaking hand. Rey's flames flickered dangerously. Kai whispered, horrified. That's not good. That's like super not good. Reyes spun toward Ethan, eyes blazing. You cannot connect with it again. Do you understand? Even with training, even with the chamber, if you touch the Black Sun's consciousness a second time... Ethan finished quietly. It'll pull me in. Ava shook her head violently. No. Then we won't let him try again. We'll find another way. Reyes looked at her. Ava, if the Black Sun opens a full breach, one we cannot close, Ethan is the only one who can block it. Ava's pupils narrowed to ice-blue pinpoints. You don't sacrifice him. Reyes didn't flinch. And I don't intend to, but we can't pretend he's not the weapon we need. Ethan inhaled sharply. He hated that she was right. He hated even more that Ava was right too. Kai crossed his arms. Okay, can we all agree step 1 is no dying? Reyes sighed. Ideally. Ava glared. Not ideally, absolutely. Ethan squeezed her hand. I'm not planning to die. Ava whispered, You better not. For a moment, the room was gentle. Then Reyes straightened sharply. We need Grayson. Ava tensed. He's still in detainment. Ethan frowned. Why? Reyes glared at him. Because someone broke into AMA level 5 security 3 nights ago. Kai coughed violently. Wow, wild, crazy. Who would do such a thing? Ava kicked his ankle. Reyes ignored their guilt. Grayson's research may be the only thing that can slow the imprint's growth. Ethan hesitated. Reyes, if we release him, what if he uses the chaos to finish whatever he was hiding? Reyes shook her head. I'll hold his leash. Kai whispered, That's terrifying, and also hot. Ava elbowed him again. Reyes tapped a rune on the wall. Stay here. Do not move. I'll bring Grayson. She exited with a trail of flame behind her, leaving Ethan, Ava, and Kai once again alone, quiet between storms. Minutes passed. The lights hummed faintly. Ava sat beside Ethan's bed, arms folded tight, eyes never leaving him. Kai paced like a caffeinated squirrel. Ethan broke the silence. You should both rest. Ava shot him a lethal glare. No. Kai added, funny. You think we're leaving you alone again after the mimic? After the breach? No way. Ethan lowered his eyes. I don't want you getting hurt. Ava leaned in. Her voice was soft, but firm. Then stay alive. Ethan looked up. Their eyes met. Something in her expression, fear, fury, determination, slammed into him harder than any void pulse. Kai cleared his throat loudly. Hey, no dying and no flirting until after the apocalypse, thank you? Ava froze. Ethan flushed. Kai nodded proudly. You're welcome. Before either could respond, Reyes returned. With Grayson. His expression calm, his hands bound with glowing runes, his eyes, as always, too knowing. Ava's magic surged instantly. Kai stiffened. Ethan sat up straighter. Reyes pushed Grayson forward. Time to talk. Grayson looked directly at Ethan. His voice was soft. You touched the Black Sun, didn't you? Ethan hesitated. Yes. Grayson nodded slowly. Then everything is about to change. He stepped closer, rune chains rattling, because if it has seen you, truly seen you, he exhaled, then the war won't come later. His eyes locked onto Ethan's. It's coming now. Ethan's pulse thudded in his ears. Ava reached for his hand. Kai tightened his stance. Ray's flames roared, and Grayson whispered, "Our world has hours."
Chapter 28. Countdown. Hours. Not days. Not weeks. Hours. The word hung in the air like a guillotine, sharp and heavy. Ava's hand tightened around Ethan so abruptly he winced. Kai swore under his breath. Reyes moved forward like a storm given human form. Grayson didn't flinch. He simply lifted his bound wrists slightly, as though reminding them he was the least threatening person in the room, even though they all knew that wasn't true. Reyes's voice was fire wrapped in steel. "Explain now." Grayson exhaled slowly. The Black Sun's physiology, or metaphysiology, is not like ours. It does not wait. It does not retreat. It only adopts. He nodded toward Ethan. And when you pushed back against its emissary, when you hit it directly through the rift, when you forced it to notice you, Reyes's eyes narrowed. You triggered an acceleration event. Kai blinked. "Oh, what now?" "A shift in its timeline," Grayson clarified. "A reinterpretation of our defenses. It knows Ethan can interfere with its breach cycles, so it has changed its strategy." Ava's voice dropped to an icy whisper. "It's coming for him immediately." Grayson nodded. "Yes, which means the next breach won't be a test. It will be an invasion." Ethan felt his pulse thud painfully. An invasion. Reyes stepped closer, flames flickering across her shoulders. "When?" Grayson tilted his head slightly, listening to something, or remembering, or calculating. "Between 2 and 6 hours. Kai froze mid-step. "Excuse me? What? 6 hours as in 6 hours?" Ava turned to Reyes instantly. "We need to move now. We need to evacuate the younger cadets, fortify the inner dome, reinforce the ley lines." Reyes cut in sharply. "No." Ava blinked. "What?" Reyes's voice was firmer than steel. "If we evacuate or activate the full dome shield, the Academy becomes a beacon. The Black Sun will know we're preparing for its next breach." Kai raised his hands dramatically. So what? Our strategy is do nothing? Pretend everything is fine while a cosmic nightmare tries to break in?" "No," Reyes glared at him. "Our strategy is to prepare quietly, strategically, and without alerting the Void's attention." She turned her gaze to Ethan. "And we train Ward harder than ever." Ethan nodded once. "Tell me what to do." But Grayson shook his head slowly. "Training isn't enough anymore." Ava tensed. "What do you mean?" Grayson approached the spellbed, stopping just a foot from Ethan. His expression softened. Gently. Terrifyingly gently. "Ethan isn't ready to fight the Black Sun's next attack." Ava shoved forward, ice surging up her arms. "You don't get to decide that." Grayson kept his eyes on Ethan. "Because the next attack won't be physical." The room fell silent. Ethan frowned. "Then what is it?" Grayson tapped the side of his head. "Psychic, metaphysical, internal. The Void knows it cannot overpower you with force. Not yet. So it will try something else." He looked Ethan dead in the eyes. "It will try to replace you." Grayson smiled faintly. "We strengthen the tether." Ethan blinked. "Strengthen it? How?" Grayson tilted his chin. "By anchoring you to the people you trust." Ava and Kai exchanged quick glances. Ethan frowned. "What does that mean?" Reyes folded her arms. "You'd better explain, and fast." Grayson nodded. "The Black Sun exploits isolation, fear, vulnerability. When Ethan is alone, Even mentally alone, the void has leverage. He extended his bound wrist toward Ethan. But if we anchor him, if we weave his elemental pathways with human connection, friendship, loyalty, emotional resonance, then the void cannot overwrite him. It cannot replace what is already claimed. Kai blinked repeatedly. So you're saying the power of friendship is an anti-void security protocol? Grayson smirked. Crude, but not inaccurate. Ava looked at Ethan. Really looked. Her icy facade cracked, revealing raw fear and raw determination. She whispered, "We anchor you." Kai put his hand over Ethan's. "And we don't leave." Reyes added, surprisingly softly, "Not this time. Not ever again." Ethan swallowed hard. A knot built in his throat. He felt the pulse of fire under his skin, the thrum of lightning, the cold echo of the void. And something else, something stronger. Ava squeezed his hand. Kai squeezed his other. Reyes placed a warm palm on his shoulder. Grayson watched silently. Ethan whispered, "What do I have to do?" Grayson stepped forward. "You step into the imprint, not alone, but with them connected to you." Ava froze. "You mean a shared mind walk?" Kai went pale. Oh no. Last time I mind walked, I saw my teacher's trauma and a cat wearing shoes. I'm not doing that again. Reyes glared. You're doing it. Kai shut up immediately. Ava turned to Ethan, brushing his hair back. Are you sure you can handle this? Ethan looked at her, then at Kai, then at Reyes, then back at her. I can't handle it alone. Ava's expression softened into something fierce and loyal and painfully vulnerable. Then we go with you. Grayson smiled, slow, knowing, dangerous. Good, because the void won't wait much longer. The lights flickered, the ground trembled. A faint whisper brushed the edge of Ethan's mind. Soon. Ethan straightened. Then let's anchor me before it arrives. Ava nodded. Kai cracked his knuckles. Reyes ignited her flames. Grayson breathed deeply. And the countdown began. Chapter 29. The Anchor Ritual. The ritual room beneath the infirmary wasn't meant for students. Ethan realized this immediately. The air felt ancient, heavy with old magic and older rules. Rings of glyphs spiraled across the stone floor, carved by hand and glowing faintly with silver-blue light. Runes floated above the walls like drifting constellations. The entire chamber hummed like a living organism, pulsing in slow, steady breaths. Reyes unlocked the final seal with a flame-carved sigil. The door rumbled open. Ava's breath caught slightly. Kai swallowed hard. Ethan stepped inside. It felt like stepping into the memory of a dream he didn't understand. Grayson followed last, his wrist bindings dissolving at Reyes's command. He rubbed his wrists casually, as if regaining use of his hands meant nothing compared to what they were about to do. This place, Ava whispered. My father once mentioned it. The Anchor Chamber. It was built for mages on the brink of collapse. Reyes nodded. It was built for war. Kai muttered, Cool, great, awesome, a war basement. I feel so safe. Ethan's heart hammered. Reyes turned to him. Ward, sit at the center. He obeyed, moving slowly until he reached the innermost ring of runes, a circle perfectly sized for one person. The air thickened around him, pressing against his shoulders like invisible hands. Ava knelt directly in front of him. Kai took the right side. Reyes moved to the left. Grayson stood behind Ethan, a calculated distance away. You will remain conscious, Grayson said softly, but your mind will step where your body cannot. Ava met Ethan's eyes. I'll be right here. Kai elbowed Ethan gently. And so will I, though I make zero promises to be helpful. Reyes placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder. Listen to my voice if anything starts to slip. Ethan nodded shakily. Then Grayson knelt behind him. His fingers brushed the back of Ethan's neck, and the room came alive. Whoom! The runes surged brighter. Pressure built in the air. A cold pulse traveled up Ethan's spine. Ava grabbed Ethan's hand instantly. Kai grabbed the other. Reyes anchored her palm against the back of Ethan's shoulder. Grayson's voice filled the chamber. Begin anchor formation. The runes shifted, spiraling inward toward Ethan. Ava inhaled sharply as her magic attuned to his. Kai jolted, startled by the sudden resonance linking his technomancy with Ethan's lightning. Reyes grit her teeth as Ethan's fire brushed too close to her own aura, but they held firm. Grayson spread his hands. Ethan Ward, speak your anchor word. Ethan blinked. My what? Ava answered quietly. Your center, the word that keeps you tethered to yourself. Kai shrugged. Mine would be snacks. Reyes didn't even turn. Yours is stop talking. Kai nodded. Yeah, valid. Ethan closed his eyes. His center, his anchor, his truth. He whispered, fight. The runes roared to life.
Flash! Magic exploded outward from Ethan like a shockwave. Gold, blue, white, violet, colliding with every person connected to him. Ava gasped. I see it. Ethan, your mind is... Kai staggered. Oh no, I'm seeing his childhood. Why is there so much spilled cereal? Rhea steadied herself. He's splitting. Focus. And Grayson smiled. The chamber dissolved in a burst of light, and Ethan fell inward. Inside Ethan's mind, a dark ocean, a limitless horizon, a sky of molten gold torn by lightning, a current of flame twisting beneath the surface. This wasn't void. This was Ethan. Ava appeared beside him, forming from swirling blue frost. Kai crash-landed into the mindscape face first. Ow! Mind floor hurts. Reyes materialized with fire circling her fists. Grayson stepped into view last, calm, observing. Ava reached for Ethan's arm. Is this your mind? Ethan looked around. I guess so, but his voice shook. Because something was wrong. The horizon trembled. The water stirred unnaturally. A crack of black light flickered through the sky. Kai pointed. Guys, I think he has a mental leak. Ava frowned. No, that's the void trying to enter. Grayson lifted his hand. Prepare yourselves. The ocean split. The sky tore open. The void seeped in like black smoke. And from within the fracture, a figure emerged. Not the emissary. Something smaller, quieter, sharper. A humanoid shadow with Ethan's shape, Ethan's stance, Ethan's eyes. A copy, a mimic, a replacement. Ava's breath hitched. Ethan, it's you! Kai curled his fists. Void clone, Ethan. I knew this would happen eventually. Ethan stepped forward. The shadow Ethan stepped forward in perfect sync. Grayson inhaled slowly. The black sun is not here yet. This is only the first wave, a psychic infiltrator. Shadow Ethan tilted its head. Its voice was venomous echo. Let us in. Ava froze in horror. Kai took a step back. Reyes ignited. Grayson whispered, "Anchor, Ethan, anchor now." Ethan squared his stance. He met the shadow's dead, hungry gaze and whispered his word again. Fight. Crack. Fire erupted along the ocean. Lightning split the mindscape sky. Ava's frost surged around Ethan. Kai's technomancy flared, sparks dancing across the waves. Reyes's flame lit the horizon, and Shadow Ethan hissed, "You cannot keep them." Ethan clenched his fists. "I'm not losing anyone." The void rumbled, and Shadow Ethan lunged, and the first battle inside Ethan's mind began.
Chapter 30, Reflection War. Shadow Ethan struck first. It moved like lightning, not Ethan's lightning, but something colder, sharper, stripped of humanity. Ethan barely dodged the first blow. The impact behind him shattered a chunk of the mindscape's golden sky, sending shards of memory raining down like broken glass. Ava summoned a blade of frost and leapt forward. Kai surged tech lightning through his arms. Rays ignited like a living inferno. But none of them moved until Ethan moved. This was his mind, his battle, his war. He steadied himself as Shadow Ethan rose from the fractured mindscape, black flame flickering across its silhouette. Ava called out, "Ethan, don't let it force you into its rhythm. Stay grounded." Kai added, "And please don't lose, or we all die horribly." Reyes said nothing. She didn't need to. Her fire readied at Ethan's back. Grayson simply observed, eyes narrowed, calculating every possibility. Ethan inhaled deeply, then charged. The clash of selves. Their collision split the mindscape ocean into a ring of fire and shadow. Ethan's fist, wreathed in real flame, met the shadow's fist, coated in void black static. Boom! The blast shattered the dark waves below. Lightning danced across both bodies. Shadow Ethan hissed, "You are weak." Ethan gritted his teeth. "Maybe, but I'm not alone." He shoved forward. Fire erupted. Lightning crackled. Ava's frost spiraled around him in a protective arc. The shadow staggered back, momentarily softened by the flare of combined magic. But only for a moment. It adapted. Its body reformed, run through with glowing void cracks that resembled Ethan's, but far worse. Then it lunged again, straight at Ava. Ethan's heart seized. "Ava, move!" Ava dodged, ice blooming beneath her feet, but the shadow clipped her shoulder. She hit the surface hard, sliding across the dark water. "I'm fine," she shouted, frost rising to shield her. Ethan felt rage surge through him. "You don't touch her." Shadow Ethan tilted its head. "She will break." Reyes launched a spear of flame toward it. The shadow dissolved into smoke and reformed behind Kai, claws raised. Kai shrieked, "Excuse me, this is illegal." Ethan reacted without thinking. Lightning shot from his palm. Crack! The shadow flew across the ocean, slamming into a crack in the sky. Kai collapsed to his knees. My life flashed before my eyes. So many snacks, so little time.
Ava scrambled to Ethan's side. Don't let it distract you. It wants emotional openings, fear responses, weak points. Grayson finally spoke. That thing is not here to kill you. It's here to replace you. Ethan turned cold. Shadow Ethan spread its arms. Its voice warped into something disturbingly familiar.
Let me in. You're tired. You're scared. You can't hold the breach alone. Ethan froze, because the voice it used was his father's. Ava's breath hitched. Kai swore. Rhea's flames erupted in fury. Ethan trembled. You don't get to use him. Shadow Ethan stepped closer, voice now gentle and wrong. Your father fought us, and look what it cost him. Ethan's knees wavered. Ava grabbed his hand. Ethan, look at me, not at it. Kai grabbed his other arm. Yeah, buddy, come on. We're your squad. Rhea's placed a stabilizing flame on his back. You stay with us, Ward. Grayson watched, murmuring, Anchor formation stabilizing? He's resisting. Shadow Ethan hissed as the three tightened around Ethan, their resonance flaring. Ava whispered, You're not alone anymore. Fight it. Lightning flickered across Ethan's chest. Fire roared around his fists. The void pulse tightened, but didn't break him. Shadow Ethan's voice changed again, lower, colder. If you will not open, I will force you to. The mindscape cracked. Void tendrils erupted from the shadow's back, whipping across the ocean, pulling at Ethan's chest like hooks. Ethan screamed. Ava screamed his name. Kai fired technomancy at the tendrils, burning several away. Rhea slashed through others with a blade of pure fire. But more appeared. Grayson shouted, Ethan, yank back! Ethan gasped, barely conscious. How? Grayson pointed at Ava. At your anchors. Ava pressed her forehead to Ethan's, her voice a trembling whisper. Come back to us. Kai grabbed Ethan's shoulders. You promised not to die. Keep it. Rhea slammed her hand over Ethan's heart, fire flaring. You are not void. You are not a conduit. You are a ward. Ethan felt something pale and bright tear free inside him. Not fire, not lightning, not void. Something else. Something that belonged to him. His hands shook, and then he roared, I said no. A shockwave erupted from Ethan in a perfect sphere of gold and blue. The void tendrils atomized. Shadow Ethan was blasted backward, skidding across the cracking ocean. Ava held Ethan upright, breath shaking. Kai whooped. That's my boy! Reyes exhaled a tight breath of relief. But Grayson stared at the shadow, eyes dark. Shadow Ethan rose again, not defeated, not weakened, now smiling. And in a voice both Ethan's and not, it whispered, You cannot stop what's coming. The black sun rises, and this time you will open the door yourself. Ethan clenched his fists. Over my dead body. Shadow Ethan's smile widened. Yes. The ocean cracked. The sky split. A massive rift ignited overhead into blazing violet light. Ava screamed, Ethan, get back! Grayson shouted, It's forcing the mindscape open! It's summoning a real breach! Reyes unleashed a pillar of fire. Kai fired his entire graft at once. Ethan threw every ounce of flame and lightning he had, but the rift swallowed everything in its light. The mindscape shook violently, breaking apart at the seams as the void began forcing its way in. Shadow Ethan laughed. It begins now. Ethan shouted back,
I won't break, Shadow Ethan whispered, but you will open. And the breach tore into the mindscape.
Chapter 31, Breach Within. The mindscape split apart. Not metaphorically, literally. Ethan felt the world inside his head tear open like paper under a burning flame. The dark ocean collapsed into spirals of void. The golden sky shattered into drifting shards of memory. The mental floor beneath Ethan's feet vibrated with a low, warping hum that made his bones ache. A breach was forming inside his mind. Ava screamed over the growing storm, her voice barely audible under the roar of void winds. "Ethan, focus! You have to shut it!" Kai clung to a fragment of floating ground, hair whipping sideways in the violent pull. "Dude, your brain is breaking the laws of physics! Fix it!" Rhea slammed pillars of flame into the growing void rift, trying to contain it. "Ward, anchor now!" But Grayson did not move to attack. He stepped toward Ethan, calm, slow, purposeful. And the shadow Ethan mirrored him, gliding like a reflection across the fractured ocean. Two sides converging. Ethan staggered back, flames sputtering at his fingertips. What do you want from me?" The shadow Ethan smiled with his mouth. The void answered with his voice. "To replace you, to open the way, to end the world." Ava pushed through the storm, frost spiraling around her in dangerous rings. She reached Ethan, grabbing his face between her hands. "Listen to me, Ethan. Look at me." He forced his gaze to hers. Her eyes, blue, bright, furious, were the only stable thing in the collapsing mind. "You're stronger than it," Ava whispered. "You've beaten it before. You can do it again, but you have to push back." He shook his head frantically. I can't. It's too big, too fast." "Then don't do it alone," she snapped. Her forehead pressed to his, her cold aura latched onto his fire, stabilizing it with perfect opposition. Kai skidded up beside them, anchoring his hand to Ethan's shoulder. "Buddy, if you die, who am I supposed to copy homework from, huh? Rhea stepped behind him, placing a blazing palm over Ethan's heart. "Ward, you close this breach, or I drag you out of your own mind and make you close it." Ethan's lips twitched. They were with him, here, inside, fighting for him. The void rumbled again, a thunderclap inside the mind, and the shadow Ethan stepped forward. It pointed to the rift tearing open behind it. "This is inevitable." He pointed at Ethan. "You were born for this." Ethan felt his blood freeze. Ava growled. "That's not fate. That's manipulation." Kai shouted, "Yeah, and we hate manipulation. We're anti-manipulation heroes." Shadows Ethan's eyes gleamed violet. "You cannot close the black sun." Ethan lifted his head slowly. His fear began to burn into something else. Resolve, rage, defiance. "You're right," he whispered. Ava stiffened. "No, Ethan, don't!" But Ethan wasn't finished. "I can't close the black sun." He stepped forward. "But I can close you." Shadow Ethan's smile faltered, just slightly. Reyes lifted her fire higher. "Good, push him back." Kai's graph shone electric blue. "Let's toast Void Ethan!" Ava's ice blade lengthened, gleaming. "Don't give him an inch." Shadow Ethan hissed. "You cannot destroy me. I am you." Ethan clenched his fists. "No." Flames ignited around him. Lightning wrapped his arms. Ava's frost locked into his core. Kai's electricity surged into his spine. Reyes's fire roared with his. Ethan shouted, "You're everything I refuse to be." And he charged.
The battle for self. Shadow Ethan met him halfway. Their collision cracked the mindscape like a meteor impact. Fire versus void, lightning versus shadow, purpose versus hunger. Ethan punched. Shadow punched back. Ethan unleashed lightning. Shadow toward Bart. Ava shot beams of frost that slowed the shadow's advance. Kai's tech lightning overloaded its limbs. Ray's inferno ripped pieces from its form, but it reformed again and again, until Ethan realized it was learning, mocking, mastering. Shadow Ethan tilted its head, speaking with Ethan's voice warped and hollow. "You fight like a child." Ethan spat blood. His fire flickered. Lightning dimmed. Ava screamed, "Ethan, don't you dare! Don't you dare leave us!" Kai threw lightning until his arms shook. "Dude, if you check out, I swear I'll hack the afterlife to yell at you." Ray's clenched her teeth. "Ward, fight." Ethan breathed out, slow, and whispered, "No." A spark flared. Small, bright. His fire, not the void's. His lightning, not the void's. His will, not the void's. Ava felt it. Kai felt it. Ray's felt it. Grayson, quietly, gently, smiled behind them. Ethan stood, and for the first time, Shadow Ethan stepped back. Ethan raised both hands, fire in one, lightning in the other, and something new between them. A golden-white arc of energy formed from anchor resonance. Ava whispered, "What is that?" Grayson answered, his soul deciding. Shadow Ethan screamed, "No!" Ethan roared back, "Get out of my head!" and slammed the light forward. Purification. The golden arc hit the shadow full force. It tore through its void core, splitting it in two. The shadow shrieked, its body glitching, unraveling, void leaking like smoke. Ray's unleashed fire. Ava unleashed frost. Kai unleashed lightning. Together, they tore the shadow apart. The rift imploded behind it, and with one final scream, Shadow Ethan shattered like black glass into nothingness. Silence. Then, the mindscape began healing. The ocean calmed. The sky stitched itself together. Light returned. Ava collapsed into Ethan, arms tight around him. "You idiot! You absolute idiot! You scared me!" Kai tackled them both. "Dude, did we win? Please tell me we won." Ray's exhaled. "We won." Grayson stepped forward last. He nodded. "Congratulations, Ethan. You just won your first internal war." Ethan trembled, his voice barely audible. "That wasn't the war." Grayson's smile faded. "No." Ethan stared at the horizon of his mind. Golden, cracked, but whole. That was only the beginning. The void pulse deep in his chest answered faintly. "Soon." Ethan whispered back, "Not soon enough." Chapter 32. Back to the breaking world. Ethan's eyes snapped open. The mindscape dissolved. The ocean, the sky, the shadow, gone. He was back in his body, gasping like he had been drowning. His heartbeat hammered against his ribs. Cold fingers cupped his face instantly. Ethan, look at me. Are you here?" Ava. Her forehead pressed to his, her breathing uneven, desperate, her frost aura trembling like fear trapped in ice. Kai practically climbed on the spellbed. "Buddy? Buddy? Color in the face, check. Breathing, check. Not void-possessed, check." Reyes exhaled, long and heavy. The flames around her dimmed. She looked relieved, but only for a heartbeat. Grayson stood slightly back, arms folded, eyes unreadable. Ethan swallowed. "I'm here." Ava let out a shaky breath she'd been holding for too long and hugged him. Tight. Hard. The kind of hug where you don't care who's watching. Kai flocked across both of them as if participating in a group emergency cuddle. "Yes, we did it. I mean, you did it. I mean, we did it. But mostly you, and I'm taking partial credit." Reyes let them have 5 seconds before clearing her throat sharply. "Enough. Celebrate later. We have a problem." Ethan pulled back. Kai groaned. "Can we have one moment before another problem tries to kill us?" "No," Reyes said bluntly. Ava straightened, frost fading. "What happened?" Reyes turned to Grayson. "You felt it. The void's reaction." Grayson nodded once. It wasn't defeated. It simply withdrew. Ethan stiffened. Ava grabbed his hand. Kai muttered, "Of course it did. Of course the cosmic nightmare is playing hide and seek." Reyes continued, pacing like a caged wildfire. The psychic breach collapsed, but the external pressure hasn't stopped. The black sun knows you resisted. It knows we anchored you, and it will change tactics. He felt the pulse in his chest, not violent, not overwhelming, just a presence, a watcher. "What will it do now?" he asked quietly. Grayson studied him. "It will test the anchors." Kai whimpered. "No. Nope. I'm failing all tests today. Not happening." Ava's jaw tightened. "Let it test me. I won't break." Grayson shook his head. "You underestimate the void. Anchors are powerful, but fragile, and the black sun will try to fracture your connections, one by one." Kai frowned. "Fracture? Like trying to mess with our minds?" Reyes answered, voice slow. "Like trying to turn you against each other." Silence. Ava's grip on Ethan tightened. Ethan's breath caught. Because the void didn't need claws. It didn't need a breach. It didn't need to shout. It just needed to sow doubt. And to kill an anchor, you don't break their body. You break their trust. Ava looked straight at Grayson, eyes blazing. "We won't fall for that." Grayson gave a sad little smile. "Everyone falls for it. That's why the void uses it." Kai crossed his arms stubbornly. "Not us. We're like glue. Magic friendship glue." Reyes pinched the bridge of her nose. "Please never say that again." But Ethan didn't laugh. He felt something cold. A shadow inside his mind had known exactly where to strike. It had used his father's voice, his fears, his guilt. What would it use next?
Ava saw his expression shift and leaned in. "Hey," she whispered, "I'm not going anywhere." Kai nodded violently. "Same. You're stuck with me. Forever. Get over it." Reyes didn't say anything exactly comforting, but she placed one warm hand on Ethan's shoulder. Solid, steady, real. Grayson watched them with an unreadable look. He spoke softly. "The anchor's held this time, but the void will not stop until it breaks one of you." Ethan's jaw clenched. "So what do we do?" Reyes turned toward the door. "We prepare. We strengthen our defenses, and we keep you surrounded at all times." Kai saluted. "Tiny human shield at your service." Ava rolled her eyes. "You're barely a human shield." "Ava," Kai gasped, "I am deeply hurt." But Ethan wasn't listening, because the void pulse inside him wasn't quiet anymore. A whisper slid along his thoughts. 3 anchors. 3 weaknesses. We will find the cracks. Ethan flinched. Ava grabbed him. What did it say? Ethan breathed shakily. "It's not coming from me next." Reyes froze. Kai looked horrified. Ava's voice dropped to a whisper. "Then who?" Ethan met each of their eyes. His chest tightened. His voice was barely audible. "You." Ava inhaled sharply. Reyes's flames roared. Kai cursed loudly. And Ethan realized something awful.
It wasn't just after him, it was after everyone who cared enough to save him.
Chapter 33, Targeted. The room fell silent. Not the fearful kind, not the fragile kind. A heavy silence, one that felt like a pressure in the air, like the building itself was waiting to hear what Ethan would say next. Ava stepped closer to him, frost clicking across the floor. Her voice was controlled, but barely. "Ethan, tell me exactly what the void said." Ethan swallowed hard. "It said there are 3 anchors, 3 weaknesses." His voice grew tight. "It said it will find the cracks." Kai threw his hands up. "Nope, no cracks. We are crack-proof. We are—" Rhea silenced him with one look. Ava stayed focused on Ethan. "Did it specify which of us first?" He shook his head. "It doesn't need to. It knows me. It knows what I care about." His breath trembled. "It'll go after whichever one hurts me the most." Ava stiffened. Kai went pale. Reyes's flames coiled around her like armor. Grayson finally spoke, his voice a quiet knife. "And that means Ava." Ava didn't react. Ethan's heart dropped. Kai yelled, horrified, "Hey, what about me? Why not me? I can be targeted. I'm target-worthy." Reyes threw him a glare so sharp he shut up immediately. Grayson looked almost amused. "Don't worry, Kai. You will be targeted. But later." Kai pumped a fist. "Yes! Wait, no!" Ethan's hands clenched at his sides. "No one gets targeted. Not on my watch." Reyes approached him slowly. "Ward," she said gently, "you don't get to decide that." "I do when it's my fault." Ava flinched. Kai did too. Ethan's voice cracked, raw, desperate. "This all started because of me. The imprint, the breach, the black sun, the shadow, every attack is because of me." He looked at each of them. "The void wants to break me, and it'll use all of you to do it." Silence.
For a moment, Ethan looked like he couldn't breathe. Ava reached up and grabbed his collar, pulling him down enough to meet her eyes. Her voice was a whisper, but it hit like thunder. "Then we don't give it the chance." Kai nodded vigorously. "Yeah, what she said. We're like a team, a squad, what's the word? A unit." Reyes added, "You're not facing this alone, and none of us are stepping back." Ethan shook his head. "You don't understand. The void doesn't need to attack physically. It can get inside your fear, your memories, use your guilt, your regrets." Kai snorted. "Oh, good luck with that. I have no guilt or regrets. I'm emotionally bankrupt." Ava and Rhea stared at him. Kai blinked. "What?" Ethan almost smiled, but only almost. Grayson exhaled slowly. "There's no stopping the void from targeting your anchors, but there is a way to predict where it will strike." Ava's voice sharpened. "How?" Grayson stepped into the center of the chamber. "The void will attack where bonds are strongest, where stakes are highest, where a single fracture will cause maximum emotional collapse." He lifted a finger and pointed at Ava, "which means the first attempt will hit her." Ethan's breath caught. Ava didn't flinch. Kai blurted, "Why is it always Ava? Why not me? I can be distressing." Reyes grabbed his shoulder. "Kai, please." But Ethan's panic was rising. "No, no, no! Then we keep her in the sanctuary. We lock the doors. We isolate her. Ava slapped his arm. Hard. "Don't you dare say isolate." Ethan froze. Ava stepped closer. So close, he could see the frost collecting on her lashes. She whispered, "You isolate someone when they're disposable, when they're a liability. I'm neither." Ethan shook his head. "But if it takes you, if you break?" Ava's breath hitched. "I know.
A long moment passed between them, too intimate for the middle of an apocalypse. Kai eventually coughed loudly. Okay, romantic tension later, cosmic horror now. Reyes nodded, stepping in. We need to move Ava into a reinforced ward circle. Kai, you stay with her. Ethan, you're not leaving her side. Grayson, you monitor the imprint. Ava blinked. You're putting all of us together? Reyes nodded. It's the safest way. Grayson smirked. And the worst possible scenario if the void wants to cause emotional chaos. Ethan stiffened. Ava glared at him. Try it. Reyes's flames rose. Kai powered his graft. Ethan felt the void pulse again. This time, the whisper wasn't taunting. It was thoughtful. The ice will crack first. Ethan grabbed Ava's hand instantly. Not if I'm there. She squeezed back. Then stay. He did. He would. Whatever the void was planning, whatever fear it wanted to weaponize, Ethan would face it head on. Because if Ava fell, everything else would too. And the void knew it.
Chapter 34. The Ice Cracks. Reyes moved them to the lower sanctum, a chamber carved directly into the Academy's foundation, wrapped in 20 layers of protective sigils and sealed by a flame lock only she could open. It wasn't warm, it wasn't comfortable, it wasn't meant to be. It was meant to survive the end of the world. Ava stepped inside first. Frost flickered around her boots, reacting instinctively to the pressure in the room. Kai followed, nervously tapping his graft. I can't tell if this place feels safe or like a tomb, Reyes answered dryly. Both. Ethan entered last, and the door sealed behind him with a deep, metallic thoom, echoing like a prison gate closing. Grayson remained outside, watching through a spectral projection window. You four stay within sight of each other at all times. The void's influence will test you the moment it sees an opening. Kai shuddered. Great! Love tests! Is this graded? Ava walked to the center of the chamber and sat cross-legged, focusing her breath. Blue frost spread in a slow ring around her. Reyes took up a guard stance behind her. Kai sat to her right, Ethan to her left. Grayson's projection flickered. Anchors stabilized together. Close proximity enhances shared resistance. But the void knows this. If it cannot break one of you physically, it will try something else. Ethan tensed. What else? Grayson looked straight at Ethan. Memory manipulation, emotional grafting, fear injection, anything that makes you doubt each other. Ava opened one eye. That won't work on us. Grayson tilted his head. It won't unless the void hits the right wound. Ava's jaw tightened, but she didn't deny it. Kai raised a hand timidly. So, what's the right wound for Ava, hypothetically speaking, asking for survival reasons? Grayson said nothing. Ethan did. She still blames herself. Ava's eyes snapped open. Ethan. But Ethan didn't stop. She still blames herself for her mother. Ava flinched, frost exploding outward like shattered glass. Rhea stepped forward instantly. Ava, control. Ava clenched her fists, frost crawling up her arms. Her breath came out sharp, cold, and shaky. Kai whispered, Wait, Ava, I didn't know. You weren't supposed to, she said through her teeth. Ethan reached toward her.
Ava? Don't. Her voice froze the air. For a moment, the room dropped to sub-zero temperatures. Frost crept over the walls. The runes dimmed under the cold pressure. She inhaled slowly and forced herself to steady. But the damage was already done. Kai swallowed. Okay, so that's the wound the void wants to poke. Got it. Reyes muttered, Be careful. But Ethan saw it. A crack. A small one, hairline thin, but a crack in Ava's wall. A perfect entrance for the void. He moved closer. Ava, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said. Ava cut him off. No, you should have. She looked at her own hands, trembling. It's the truth I avoid, and that's exactly what the void will use. Ethan gently placed his hand on hers. Ava, you're not responsible for what happened to your mother. Her jaw trembled. I was there. Being there isn't the same as causing it. Her eyes glistened, frost shimmering in her lashes. But before she could answer, a cold whisper slid across the chamber, a voice only Ava heard. You failed her. Ava jerked violently. Ava? Ethan grabbed her shoulders. Kai scrambled up. What is happening? Reyes ignited her flames, scanning the air. The void is probing. Hold your anchors. Ava's breath sped up. Her pupils shrank. The whisper came again, clearer. You couldn't save her. Ava's hand flew to her chest as if stabbed. Ice spiked from the floor around her, cracking the runes. Ava! Ethan cupped her face. Stay with me. Look at me. But Ava wasn't looking at him. She was seeing something else. Something far away. Something she had buried. Kai's voice trembled. She's dissociating. The void is yanking her into a memory. Reyes pressed a burning hand to Ava's back. Fight it, Coleman. Ava's breath sped up. She gasped like she was drowning. Then she whispered the words Ethan feared most. Mom? Ethan's stomach dropped. She wasn't seeing them anymore. She wasn't in the sanctum. She was in the past. Reyes cursed under her breath. It's too fast. The void found her trauma latch. The chamber shook. Frost spiraled violently around Ava, forming a storm that threatened to freeze everything. The walls, the runes, the entire room. Ethan didn't hesitate. He grabbed her shoulders harder, pulled her forehead to his, and shouted, Ava, come back to me! Her body jolted. The frost storm paused. For one fragile moment, she saw him. Her eyes were full of tears and terror. I can't. Ethan, the door, it won't open. She's. Ethan's voice cracked as he whispered, You're not there. You're here. Ava trembled, her breathing ragged, but the whisper slithered back into her skull. You let her die. Ava screamed. Ice exploded outward, sharp, violent, deadly. Kai dove to shield his face. Reyes threw up a wall of fire. The chamber dimmed dangerously, and Ethan took the hit directly. A blade of pure frost sliced across his shoulder. He staggered, blood spreading through his shirt. Ava's scream instantly broke. Ethan, no! The frost vanished as she snapped back to reality, catching him before he fell. She grabbed his face with shaking hands, tears streaming. I didn't... Ethan! I didn't mean... Ethan! Please! But Ethan smiled weakly through the pain. You're back. She shook her head violently. You idiot! Don't smile! You're bleeding! Reyes, help him! Reyes was already there, fire sealing the wound. Kai helped support Ethan upright. Ava sobbed softly into Ethan's shoulder. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I hurt you. Ethan pulled her closer with the other arm. Ava, it wasn't you. It was the void. She cried harder. Ethan, I nearly killed you. He whispered into her hair, and I'd take 10 more hits if it meant pulling you out. Reyes looked away, jaw tight. Kai sniffed. I'm emotional. I'm very emotional right now. Grayson's projection flickered. His voice was quiet. The void has begun its assault. He paused. And it's not finished. The chamber dimmed again, shadows creeping across the runes. Ava clutched Ethan tighter. Ethan's pulse hammered. Kai backed up.
Reyes prepared her flames. The void whisper returned. Not at Ava, not at Ethan. Someone else. A new target. A new crack. The chamber lights went black, and someone screamed.
Chapter 35. Kai's Breaking Point. The scream wasn't Ava's. It wasn't Ethan's. It wasn't even Reyes. It was Kai. He staggered backward so violently he crashed into the sanctum wall, his graft sparking uncontrollably. Blue electric arcs shot from his fingertips like wild animal strikes. "Kai!" Ethan shouted. Ava wiped her tears instantly, ice retreating as fear flashed in her eyes. Reyes stepped forward, flames rising in defense. Kai clutched his head with both hands. It's in my head." Ethan tried to stand, but Ava held him down. "Your shoulder. I don't care," Ethan snarled, pushing himself up anyway, because Kai was screaming, not in panic, not in fear, in agony. Kai dropped to his knees, his breath fractured into desperate, ragged gasps. No, stop! Ethan reached him first and grabbed his arm. "Kai, look at me. Hey, look!" But Kai didn't hear him. His eyes were wide, pupils dilated almost fully black. He shook violently as another whisper slithered through the chamber. "Little coward." Ava's blood ran cold. Reyes hissed. "It's targeting his self-worth." Kai screamed louder. Don't call me that!" The void whispered again, easing into venom, always hiding behind jokes. Kai's sparks convulsed, crackling so intensely that Ethan had to shield his face. Ava grabbed Kai's other side. "Kai, listen to me. You're not alone." Kai shoved at the air violently, tears flying from his eyes. Shut up! I'm trying." Ethan froze, not because the void was winning, but because Kai's voice cracked with something Ethan had never heard from him. Real pain. Not fear, not panic. Pain. Reyes stepped in, gripping Kai's shoulder. "Kai, stay with us." He screamed again, folding inward. Ethan held him tighter. "Kai, what is it showing you?" Don't make me look at it," the void whispered, easing into venom. "Why weren't you enough?" Kai convulsed with a choked cry. Ava snapped, "Enough!" She released a burst of frost into the air, trying to block the psychic influence. Reyes slammed a fist of fire into the ground, stabilizing the runes. The walls vibrated, but the void's voice only grew clearer. "You let her die." Kai froze mid-scream. Ava whispered, horrified. No, Kai, who is it talking about?" Kai didn't breathe, didn't blink, didn't move. A single tear streaked down his face. "My sister." Ethan's heart slammed to a stop. Ava gasped. Reyes's flames guttered for a fraction of a second. Kai's voice cracked open like a wound. "I didn't save her." The void hissed. "You watched her fall." Kai's body shook as if hit by lightning from the inside. "Stop! Please, stop!" Ethan grabbed his friend's face. "Kai, listen to me. You didn't do anything wrong." Kai sobbed harder. "I left her, and she... Ava cupped his shoulder. "Kai, you don't have to relive it." The void's voice cut through her words like a blade. "She died because you ran." Kai screamed so loudly the sanctum walls trembled.
No, I tried to help. He collapsed into Ethan, sobbing like his body couldn't contain it. Ava's hands shook. Rhea's clenched her jaw. Grayson's projection flickered with tension. Ethan held Kai tightly, refusing to let him fall deeper. Kai, look at me! Look at me! Kai forced his eyes up. They were full of terror and guilt and something worse. Belief. Ethan felt the void latch around that guilt like a predator. No, you don't get to have him. He slammed his forehead against Kai's. Kai, hear me right now. Lightning from Ethan's imprint surged into Kai, stabilizing the wild crackling. Ethan shouted over the void. She died because fate is cruel, because the world is cruel, not because of you. Kai's lips trembled. Ethan's voice broke. You ran because you were a child, and you didn't leave her. She told you to go. She protected you, and you've been trying to make up for it ever since. Kai sobbed again, but this time, something shifted. Ava leaned in close. Kai, you are not a coward. You are the bravest person I know. Reyes added, fire crackling with conviction. And if you were worthless, the void wouldn't bother trying to break you. Kai inhaled a shaking breath. Ethan grabbed his hand. You are my friend, my brother, my anchor. His eyes burned. You don't get to break. Not now, not ever. We need you. Kai trembled. The void voice faded. Cracks closing. Then silence. Kai collapsed against Ethan, sobbing into his shoulder. Ava hugged him too. Reyes rested a warm palm on his back. Slowly, painfully, Kai's breathing steadied. His sparks calmed, his eyes cleared. He whispered, voice hoarse, Did I fight it off? Ethan held him tighter. You didn't fight it off, he said softly. You won. Kai let out a large, broken sigh. Then why does it feel like I'm falling apart? Ethan answered by squeezing his hand. Because you've been holding yourself together alone for too long. Kai sniffed loudly. I hate this. I know. This sucks. I know. I'm scared. Ethan whispered, We all are. Ava placed her hand on Kai's chest. But you're not alone. Not anymore. Reyes nodded. The void miscalculated. It underestimated you. For the first time since the screaming started, Kai managed a tiny smile. But then, Grayson's projection flickered violently. Everyone, brace yourselves. The chamber dropped 10 degrees. The flames dimmed. The frost stopped moving. The shadows stretched unnaturally long. And the void whispered. Not in their minds, in the room. 2 anchors tested. Ethan's breath caught. Ava stiffened. Kai grabbed Ethan's sleeve. Reyes readied her flames. The whisper thickened. 1 anchor remains. Ava's eyes widened. Ethan felt the world drop out beneath him, because the void's attention